All right, brother, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's do this.
Alrighty, guys. Aaron and Chris here with the FBA Journey. This is going to be episode 2 of the new video series and podcast series. Just kind of want to take today to talk about the new brand we're starting and just kind of some of the things we've been dealing with and some of the things we didn't know about when we got started with this whole process. So, without further ado, let's get into it and talk about brand building on Amazon.
So when you're building a brand on Amazon, you may think it's just as simple as, let's go over to Amazon, let's stick some products on there, let's start a storefront, and let's build a brand. Well, it's really not that simple. Brands on Amazon are really like running a second business. Yeah. And I say this because if you're starting that brand on Amazon or selling that brand on Amazon, you have to have a second business. It's literally a second business.
It's the smartest way to do it for a multitude of reasons. Primarily, one of the things that a lot of our mentors have talked about is, if you're thinking about a brand, if you see potential in the brand, just go ahead and start a new seller account, which isn't as easy as it sounds. We'll get into that, but it gives you the opportunity to sell that brand later down the road. So that's kind of what we're shooting for. Just in case, we may carry this brand on as long as we can until it drives itself into the ground, but the plan right now is to grow it as much as we can, and if we have the opportunity to sell it down the road.
Right. Well, kind of the kicker to that is, you say it's a smart way to do it, and it is the smart way to do it. Absolutely. It's, planning ahead, definitely, so that you can sell it more pain-free later on down the road. But the real kicker is the reason that you have to have a second business is EIN numbers. Amazon requires you to have a completely different EIN number from your previous account if you've started the account before. So how do you get an EIN number? Well, you got to get it from the IRS. What do you have to give the IRS to get an EIN number? You have to have an LLC.
Exactly.
You have to give them your documentation. Then you have to file for an EIN. Exactly. So that's kind of the deciding factor. Amazon requires you to have that EIN. And you can't really get it any other way that I know of except for starting a new business. Exactly.
And that's one of the drawbacks to this whole process, at least for us at the moment, is we had this product picked out already, and the product is 100% ready to go. It's ready to ship. The issue is all of a sudden we had the idea to full out brand it, so now the product's just kind of sitting in our supplier's warehouse, and that's a little bit of a annoyance for both us and the suppliers, because we're ready to get this thing selling, but now it's just kind of waiting on the state to approve the LLC, and then hopefully everything goes well with creating the new seller account for Amazon, because I'm kind of tired of waiting, but right. I mean, it's part of the game.
And it's one of those things that's kind of like you want to move forward, but you can't.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to think, what do you need to start selling this brand on Amazon? Well, you need an LLC, that's in the works. You need a bank account. Well, what do you need to open a bank account? You need your LLC documents. So exactly. You can't open a bank account until you got your LLC. Then you can't open your Amazon account until you, one, talk to Amazon and make sure that they know that you're opening a new account, and two, have an LLC and a bank account. So it's a waiting game, and that's what makes it suck, is just waiting.
Exactly. I guess besides the fact that we're kind of waiting on everything, we're kind of at a standstill at the moment, but like, in your opinion, so we've had, our current Amazon seller account that's doing decent, not as great as we expected it to be, but with opening the new seller account, what's kind of one thing or a few things that you're looking forward to with the new account?
I'm looking forward to being able to grow a new brand of products.
Exactly.
We've been sitting on 2 products for quite a while now. One of which was a dud and ended up picking up sales over the summer here. The other one started off really good, then slowed down. So we've been sitting on 2 products for a long time now. This was our 3rd product that we looked at, and as you said before, we were just going to launch it on our main account, and you said, hey, let's think about creating a brand off of this, because it would be a very good potential brand.
Exactly.
So that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to having another product on the shelves, not just relying on 2 different products.
I think it's going to be interesting, like, now that we with the first Amazon seller account, like we were starting completely fresh. I think it's going to be interesting to, now that we kind of know how Amazon works, to see how fast and how efficiently we can start driving sales and how fast we can start actually kind of growing our revenue, especially now because we don't have PPC down 100%, but we get it more now. We understand how to utilize, a good listing, good points, good keywords, and it's going to be interesting to see what kind of happens and how quickly we can make it happen. One thing I am excited about, not necessarily on the brand aspect, is just from a lot of research the past few days. I also am kind of excited to see what happens with our product right now, because I was actually just watching a video from Tamara Lee, who I don't know if you even are familiar with her page yet, but she makes Amazon FBA videos, and she just released a video about breaking $100,000 in sales, and she didn't even know it. She actually just pulled up her sales dashboard and she saw it, but she kind of ran into the same issue. On Prime Day and right after Prime Day, she noticed a significant drop in sales, and things are starting to pick up, and that's kind of where we're at with our main product too. But I think it'll be interesting seeing juggling two completely different seller accounts, because it's going to be a complete new workload. We're going to have our main products and our main seller account that we're still going to be adding products to and still trying to grow alongside trying to grow an entire brand on Amazon, which is going to be a new workload, but it'll be interesting.
Well, like I said, you're literally starting and growing two businesses side by side. I mean, you can look at it as a division off of your main business, but if you look at it for what it is, it's two separate businesses. It's two separate LLCs. So while your knowledge of what you need to know for Amazon as a platform and your PPC and tools and stuff is the same, it helps with the workload, but it's literally managing two of the exact same businesses.
Yeah, just different numbers, and hopefully we can grow this one.
Yeah.
One thing, last night I was talking to our supplier last night about kind of just updating her on our situation, waiting for the LLC and everything. And one thing I am excited about for the brand is, before, when it came to product research, we were kind of in a random market. We were just kind of trying to find anything and everything we could sell. Last night we were talking, and she actually sent me the link to their entire manufacturing storefront. And she showed me, they have a list of hundreds of different products that fall into the same category. And just looking through the lists, I kind of cross-referenced their Alibaba store and Amazon. And there's a handful of products that they make that are going to most definitely fit in great into that Amazon market, because that's one good thing about the brand I've noticed too. It's, even if it's a little bit more competitive, if you grow the brand, use social media effectively, even if your reviews aren't as hot, even if you don't have as many reviews as some of your Amazon competitors, it's going to be interesting using social media, because if we can actually grow a connection with a customer base, reviews aren't going to matter as much as actual connection with the customers. If we can grow a brand and a following, it's going to be a lot easier to sell using external traffic. So it'll be interesting.
Right. Well, reviews aren't everything. Everybody in the beginning, they get, what do you want to do when you first learn how to do Amazon?
It's all good.
Gonna lose the clock. Oh well. What do you want to do when you first are getting into Amazon? You want to get review after review after review after review, right? Mm-hmm. That's what you want to do, because why? It looks good. Secondly, why do you get verified reviews? Because it generates a sale and you get a review.
Exactly.
Well, reviews aren't all that. You can have reviews. Yes, they look good, but there is a point where if you have too many reviews, it can look a little suspicious.
Exactly.
So we have seen accounts, or excuse me, we have seen sellers, both fulfilled by merchant and fulfilled by Amazon, that do, tens of thousands of dollars a month with just a handful of reviews.
Exactly.
And we've also seen sellers on there that have hundreds of reviews that do just a couple of thousand a month. So having a lot of reviews isn't always best, and especially with Amazon and their new policies, I guess I want to say, with them cracking down on fake reviews. It's, if you're getting a ton of reviews at the same time, it is very easy for them to pick up on that.
Yeah.
And it's very easy. It would be very easy for them to shut down your account, especially since they're working in coordination with PayPal.
Exactly. And I mean, at the end of the day, reviews. I mean, even if you have a handful of reviews, it's going to help like convince your customer to buy that product. But especially if you're utilizing like Amazon advertising, if you're really creating a good listing, good photos, and if you're using external traffic, at the end of the day, you get ranked by your sales volume. So if we're getting sales through Amazon, through external traffic, and just through having a good listing, I think it's going to be, if we play our cards right, I think we're going to be able to spend less money on one single advertising platform, or maybe advertising as a whole, once we actually grow the following. I think it'll be, in a way, once it gets to a certain point, easier to get better sales without as much cost for advertising.
Absolutely. And if you grow that following and you get that following big enough, your following is advertising in itself. You know, what happens when like the Kardashians start using the product? Everybody talks about that product. They don't have to plug that product. Exactly. They just start using it, and everybody talks about it. Everybody wants that product.
Exactly.
So it's not necessarily, you don't have to focus as heavy on just driving PPC on Amazon, driving advertising on Facebook, Pinterest, whatever. Your community built around that product is going to help you advertise. Now, that's not saying that you shouldn't do PPC and advertising on Facebook. You absolutely should. But definitely having that community is going to help you a lot.
And that's one thing we didn't even ever like kind of toy with the first time around is using influencers on Instagram or Facebook. Like I think with this new product, it's something that's relatable enough to a variety of people where we can message someone with a bigger Instagram following and say, hey, for X amount, can you promote this product? Which, once again, that kind of contradicts what you were saying, but it'll still be a form of advertising we haven't used, and it'll be interesting seeing how it works, because I definitely see the room for influencer marketing, at least in this market. I think we could try it with our main product too, but specifically with this one, it's going to attract more people, I think.
Right. Well, it's more of I tell you what I really like about our new product, and not going into detail because of course we don't want to give you guys our product, but our product's so simple. It is so simple. Simple is good when selling online, when you're shipping stuff from China, because if you have something that has a lot of moving parts, electronic, anything like that, or somewhat in any way fragile, it can be broken easy. With our main general account product right now, we've had days that we've gotten 3-4 returns in a day. And it's because what happens is it's got some moving parts on it and some things that are, they're not like fragile, but they can be easily
broken.
Off.
Easily
broken if mishandled.
Yeah.
So we'll get, a lot of people telling us, this piece fell off of it, or and we've even gotten people commenting, it didn't come with instructions, which is kind of like, how does that even happen?
That's a supplier issue, and that's one thing that's going to be kind of back to what I was saying, how it's going to be, I think, in a sense, easier to start this new account, because now we know if there's an issue immediately right off the bat with our product, it's going to be a lot easier now knowing, we're not necessarily as afraid to talk to the suppliers and negotiate with them and tell them what's going on. It's going to be a lot easier to stay on top of that stuff, because I know at least at first I was almost like, in a sense, scared to bring up the fact that there was an issue to our main supplier, because I didn't want to cause any sort of like confrontation, or I didn't want them to think that we didn't want to work with them or anything. So
well, you got to think, go back to the basics of when you first started Amazon. You first had to talk to your suppliers. How did you feel then? You felt like you're talking to this huge, almost corporate, but it's not a corporate business, but some of them are.
Yeah.
But that's how you feel. You feel like you're talking to this huge corporate business, and us, we're two people. We're two people at that point, fresh out of high school.
Yeah.
You're in high school. You're used to talking to teachers and standing in front of a class at the most to talk, unless you're in
a big college class or something.
A big college class or drama or something. I don't know. Or you're into acting. So you get this sense where it's kind of like you're kind of frightened in a way to talk to them because it's this bigger figure. And
something you just haven't done before.
Yeah, it's something you haven't done. You don't know how it's gonna go over. But over time, as you build up and you get more comfortable with what you're doing, it becomes easier and easier to talk to them. So if you would have, if we would have had these problems months and months and months ago, into the end or beginning of this year, end of last year, I would have definitely hesitated to send them a message. But the more you do something, and the more you're getting used to this format, this program, and how it has to be ran, and the issues that you're going to run into. It's kind of like receiving, you buy a chair on Amazon, and it's an actual point here that we can relate to. You buy a chair on Amazon, it's got a big tear on the back of it, and a year ago I would have said, nah, it's fine. Even though we still said that, but it's just a freaking chair, so who cares, But
talking about our new desk chairs that we got off of Amazon.
Yeah. Yeah. Still completely works just fine.
Oh, absolutely.
Works just fine. Just cosmetic. So I'm, not as worried. But, think if that desk chair was absolutely horribly broke, it just wasn't usable, wasn't safe to use. A year ago, I would have said, it's fine.
It was 1 out of the hundreds.
1 out of the 100. I'll just buy a new one. Now it's kind of like, well,
we're spending the money on it. We may as well address the issue.
We spent the money on it. Let's address the issue. Let's address the damn issue. So that's kind of how it is with suppliers. You see all these problems that start to arise. Hopefully they don't happen, but if they do start to rise, you start to see them.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, you know what? We're paying thousands of dollars for these products.
Yeah.
We're getting these products custom made. They're supposed to be paying attention to their quality control. Obviously they're not. So you sit down, you write them a message, and you try to be professional about it. You gotta give them a little bit of a boot, but don't do it in a way that's gonna make them hate you or not want to work with you. Just say, we've had these issues with the product.
What can we do to fix it?
Instructions haven't been put in, or a page of the instruction or the page of the manual is missing, the instruction page, whatever. Let's fix it, not only for us, but for everybody that's going to receive your product.
Yeah. Because
it's not just, there's a lot of people that don't give a shit about what they sell on Amazon. They'll grab some products and they'll sell them on Amazon. If they work, they work.
Exactly.
If they don't give a shit.
Especially growing this brand, that's something you got to be cognitive of.
If you want to do it correctly, you need to say, hey, this is my product.
Yeah.
I designed this, or somewhat
to an extent.
I customized it to an extent. I'm growing a brand off this. This is my product. I need to make sure that my customers are going to be getting what they paid for.
Exactly.
And even after we contacted our supplier, couldn't have gone any better.
Yeah.
We didn't even ask for a discount, and we got a little bit of a discount on our next order. So
we addressed the issue. She made sure that the manufacturing team was going to take care of it, and it's just looking at it now. It's as long as you're straightforward, you're not rude about it, and you're just professional. It goes a lot smoother than we would have thought a long time ago. But I guess before we wrap up, kind of back to just getting into this brand while we're waiting. Has there been any thoughts, like, while we're in this kind of waiting period, has there been any thoughts on your end that you're kind of nervous, scared, or like just overall worried about starting the new brand at all?
I would say absolutely. I wouldn't say it's about starting the new brand, because we got the brand down pat. It's coming back to the little more tedious business things, like, how are we, let me say first, luckily we have both LLCs in the same state. If we had started the second LLC in a different state, this would be a completely different situation. So luckily we can talk to an in-state CPA for taxes. That's somewhat simple. Still don't know everything that we probably should know, but we got professionals to do it for us.
I think really, at least the biggest thing for me is going to be we're still trying to get the whole tax situation set up for our original business, and we've been going on for a little under a year now. So it's just more of a somewhat of almost like a realization that we just need to make sure everything's 100% set up so there's no issues in the long run.
Yeah.
It's a plus that we haven't pulled any money out for personal use at all.
Well, see, that's pulling money out for personal use. That's not a big deal. You just want to make sure that you have enough to pay your taxes.
Exactly.
You don't pull out, $10,000 and blow all $10,000 of it, because when tax season comes around, you got to report that $10,000.
Exactly.
And the government's going to tax you on it.
Yeah.
So there's no getting around that. So you got to make sure you have that money in there.
Well,
I guess really I would say taxes is the biggest thing. Just anything on the business side, taxes, how to structure the business, making sure we have it structured correctly. Trademarks, completely different, completely new territory. I have never dealt with the trademark before. I don't know a lot about it. I'm going to let somebody professional handle it, obviously. But yeah, that's just, I would say, taxes and trademark over everything. Probably trademark more to the top of that list, honestly. Just because it's new territory. I don't know anything about it. I've never had to deal with it.
And that's something I almost halfway wanted to talk about on this episode. But we're just trying to get everything going first. We know what we want to do with the trademark, but we want to get everything up and going before we even register for that. Just so it's one step at a time, because right now we got kind of enough to deal with. But I mean, that's some of the things we're kind of dealing with at the moment. Some of the issues, not necessarily issues, just learning curves for the new brand. But is there anything you want to add to it at all?
I mean, I got a shit ton of information swimming around my head right now. I could talk another hour.
Yeah.
But I think most of what I have in my head is going to tie into other things, and I think it'd be better to have it in a separate talk or a separate episode. So I guess just kind of ending it for now.
Yeah.
This has kind of been what our last couple weeks has been like. I mean, that's why we've kind of been away from social media. It took us, a couple days to get caught up. We got a lot of messages from people on Instagram. It took us a couple days to get caught up on that. So sorry for you guys that were waiting there, 4 or 5 days to get responses, but we've just been hammered the last couple weeks.
The social media was always just something we kind of want to do on the side to document everything. And sometimes the business does get in the way. And between the stuff we were dealing with and just honestly a lack of content to post, we were definitely absent. But I guess tying into that, if you guys haven't yet, depending on where you're listening to this, definitely check us out on Instagram at the FBA Journey. We post our sales updates there weekly. We do little FBA Tip Fridays, and most importantly, we just try to connect with as many of the sellers as we can. We're transparent about the fact that we're new sellers. I mean, clearly this FBA Journey podcast and video series kind of is showing that. But we learned quite a bit of stuff along the way, so we're always trying to help as many people as we can. And if we don't have the answer, we have a couple resources through our mentors, so chances are we'll be able to help you guys out in some way, shape, or form. But guys, this is going to wrap up episode 2 of the new podcast and video series, and I hope you guys got something out of this, and we will see you on the next one.
Yep. Stay focused, keep selling, and we'll see you next time.